It's hard to get my hand right in the frame. Hello, fault. Blah. Oh, damn. Okay, got one. There we go. And hello, dolly enthusiast. You may have seen a few of my other videos. I'm making an apothecary or diorama dungeon for my guys back here. And one of the things I've been wanting to make was a chemistry set for them. I bought the materials, I looked up how to solder, but one reason or another I've never really gotten around to it. Either because I didn't feel comfortable doing it, the materials I had I wasn't able to bend, and it just never really happened. Lately I discovered I could do it much more simply if I don't overthink it. I'm looking forward to our first attempt at soldering with metal to make this little chemistry set, and want to invite you along with me. So let's try something new and get this knocked out. So as someone who is just now learning to solder to make props for our dolly needs, please keep in mind this is a journey of learning and not a straightforward tutorial. If you decide to try your hand at a new skill, I highly advise you to thoroughly research it. This video might be a helpful start, but there's a lot of useful information I will be unable to fit into this video. That being said, let's get started. So when I first wanted to make a chemistry set, this is where my problem started. I wanted to make it with brass tubes, but due to the fact I would need to bend these with special tools, I kind of gave up on the idea because I'm lazy. As of late, however, I discovered I could use steel wire, which is much easier to work with and can be bought much more cheaply. Here's just a few, but not all the items I'll be using. 16 gauge galvanized steel wire. Since I have them, I'll put them to use. These are the bendy tools. Pliers and wire nippers. And this is some of the glassware I ordered off of the Wish app. These were actually for aquariums, but will work for this project. Put this one here. A pair of helping hands. Plastic tubing. An electric drill. A brand new soldering iron with spaghetti sauce on it. The first one started working after I did a trial run on it a few years ago. Lead-free soldering wire. Soldering flux. And several tubular objects. First off, we have to straighten and clean the wire. To do this, I'm going to secure the wire into the drill and grab the other end very tightly and keep the wire taut. Also, I'm wearing safety glasses in case the wire pops on me, so keep that in mind. After a quick experiment making sure this technique works, I get to work making several manageable lengths of rod. I'm pretty happy so far, it's going so well. Ha! To clean the rods, I just run them through sandpaper to smooth the surfaces. It gets very shiny. I'm not going to be working with a specific idea in mind, so I'm just taking inspiration from the glassware. I'm going to cage the tube and have it sitting upright somehow. Using a dowel the size of the tube, I'm making rings to encircle and frame it. I want to use half circles, so to get them even, I'm marking the very tops and bottoms and cutting on those lines. Before I go ahead and cut the middle, I see the pieces are wobbly and adjust them so they lay flat. I think it'll help the end look. Even after the initial adjustment, the rings aren't quite snug on the tube, so a little more work is needed. To make the framework, I measure the tube and mark the width and length, spacing the railings evenly, as much as I can anyways. Just clamping these two rods down to keep them from moving around while we work. And now I'm going to try and solder. From what I've watched, all I do is jam the soldering wire under the iron and it magically works. No, look at this mess. Yeah, it's put together, but its contact points may as well be hot glued together. It's a failure. But let's not give up. I stepped back and for a week actually put the time in and research. I don't let myself get frustrated or overwhelmed looking up instructions, tutorials, and don't settle on one specific way of doing it. I take the average advice given and what looks like it'll work for my needs. Looking back, I was totally unprepared and explains why I ruined 2 irons. Okay, soldering attempt number 3. I bought a new iron and didn't bother with a cheap one since this is something I really wanted to invest in. I applied the flux to the contact points and that cleans the metal and preps it for the solder. Hopefully. I pick up a little bit of solder and here's a week of research. I'm kind of nervous this time around, so I'm a bit shaky. Yeah. If you couldn't tell, I am mildly pleased. After soldering, I clean off the iron with this brass mesh ball and tin the tip with soldering paste. That's why I ruined 2 irons. I let them get oxidized, meaning they were no longer getting enough heat to melt the solder. I didn't clean them or protect the tip with solder, but now we're more educated. Yay! Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Sorry. It looks so nice. That's just one side. Let's make the other. Gently. I'm so happy with this. After years, I'm finally getting somewhere with this project. But this is just the beginning. Next up, I wind up rods and made more rings fitting the tube that we're using in this next one. I make 4 kinda evenly spaced points to help me guide on where to place the rods to help hold everything together. Just checking to make sure the halo, I guess you can call it, will fit. It's a little off, so I'll reset when necessary. Just melt it and realign it. It's a little off, but I'm very proud of how well it's going so far. Next is this glass tube. To keep it simple, I'm just curving a wire to attach small rings to hold it. Again, adjusting it so it's not so wobbly and lays flat. I'll mark where I want the rings to go and have a helping hand hold it steady for me. More rings. And I use many different tubular sizes close to the circumference of the bowls and tubes I'm working with and find PVC connectors, by a cheap way of doing it. Good fit. Thankfully, they're also the right size to hold the bottom too, and we'll start with that. I take an arc and attach 2 feet to it to make a dome, and again test it to make sure it has a nice seat for the bowl. This is so cool. Let's just finish this up with a ring on top. This is going so nice. Dang, forgot about that nubbin. It won't fit like this at all. I'm just going to cut off one side and melt the solder to release an opening. And put it back together like I had this planned all along, and nobody will be the wiser. Yay! The next piece is about the same, rings and support rods. But the shape of it is making it difficult to keep steady on the helper. I keep soldering the rings into an awkward position. I'm just going to hot glue the rings in place and solder it like that. Maybe it'll make it easier instead of me struggling to keep it steady. Hey, this works pretty good. I was worried about the glass getting damaged from the heat, but no problem. Sweet. For this bowl, bigger rings and a lot of hot glue. This should look pretty cool. Again, I'm worried about the glass breaking, but it's holding up so far. Let's just do this slowly, giving the metal time to cool down between every or so many dabs of solder. The hot glue melts a little bit, but it keeps the pieces in place. Another reason to work slowly and let it cool down between dabs. Just a few rings and a rod to keep everything together on this piece. No markings, I'm just eyeballing about where I want the rings to be. We are definitely getting more confident with every piece we make. Okay, let's not hold it with tools. Definitely not dropping anything again. Okay, so since this glass can stand the heat, I went ahead and encased our original tube. I was originally going to have it hinged, but this is faster. Luckily, I can just barely fit 2 rings on this one and then added a halo to support the whole thing. I'm glad I stopped overthinking everything, otherwise trying to get a specific look would be frustrating. It's just utilitarian at this point, but looks great. And this one gets a simple ring, but lots of rods to make it look just a bit more detailed. Okay, all the pieces are caged. Now just to figure out how to fit everything together. I know I want the main tube upright, so let's make it some legs to stand on and have a starting point. Here's where we'll get it some character and a little less utilitarian, and just slap things together here and there so it looks interesting. I think I want to put the legs on asymmetrically. Make it kind of fantastical, but not overly so much. No. Moving on. I need to steady the legs so yet more rings are made to size and attached to the structure, which now can be called a structure. To avoid any more untimely falls, I'm hot gluing this sucker to a base for now. Need a little trim to keep these arms even. And attaching a bowl at its base to the structure. Let's start slapping this together. I got to looking at this bowl and figured it needs some more steel. Really fill it out, make it interesting. And now to make some standing bowls. In the course of this video, I believe my skills at soldering are quite improved. At first I used a lot more solder, which left larger gobs of material behind, making the contact points a bit bulky. But as we progress, I'm using less due to experience, and the final looks a lot more slim and sleeker. I have something to try. I want the stand to look interesting. Finally putting this bending tool to use. A few markings and know how much to cut out. Oh yeah, this is going to be cool. Adding an arm to hold onto the arch. Over here? Nah, let's do this side. And a little bit of reinforcement. Now to make some connecting tubes. Oh yeah, we have a heat gun for this. Just have to gently heat up one point until it kind of bends and let it cool off to hold that shape. This should give it a more authentic look. Here I'm just heating it up evenly to make it relax and straighten out. It's still very crooked. I'm going to try heating it up on a screwdriver and maybe it'll have more of an even look to it. Nice. But I need a curve on one end, so let's try that again with a hook. Very nice. The tubing still needs a little bit of teasing to get it to settle into a more straight and pleasing position. It's finally here. One more thing though. Let's get some feet to stand on. And pretty solid. And as a bonus, let's just throw in a random vial stand. It almost fits, but we may have to hot glue that in. And a Bunsen burner. Let's throw that in there too. I can't quite get the solder. We'll just hot glue that in there too. That's fine. And let's take a look at what we made. I don't know what to say. We did it. By no means is this professional quality or my original vision, but after so long of wanted to make this, it's finally here, filling the space with a sciencey ambience. Speaking of which, I have got to make some kind of windows for those. It looks nice, but bam, you break the magic by looking out the window at shelves of fabric. So I would like to thank you for joining me on learning how to solder. This skill will definitely be put to use, and I'm already planning projects in and outside the doll hobby. Again, if you're interested, please do the research. I am new to this, and I'm not going to pretend to know everything or give you incorrect information. But I will share my experience and hope maybe it gives you an avenue to create that certain prop you always wanted for your collection. Thank you for watching, and have an awesome day.